to do a unit study, huh? You heard about it, but you're scared and confused. But don't worry, I'm going to show you how to plan a unit study in under 20 minutes. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back. This is Nikki with That Homeschool Life, where I bring you real, honest, and practical homeschool information. Now, unit studies, what are they? Do I need them in my homeschool life? Yes, and let me tell you why. A unit study is one of the easiest ways to add creativity, fun, depth, and richness to your homeschool life. However, a lot of people get bogged down with the planning of a unit study and then they never go anywhere with that. So I am bringing you my easy steps to get you going so you can get the stuff planned and then you can get out there with your children and enjoy whatever it is that you guys are going to study. And just so you know, because unit studies are really popular and a lot of people don't know how to plan, but they're super fun, this is going to be a series. I don't know how many parts, but it is going to be a series. Now, in the next series on how to plan a unit study, I'm going to actually show you some of the unit studies that I use with my own children. We did ancient Egypt, we did dinosaurs, we did the human body, we did Jamaica, a couple of other ones. But in the coming series, I'll be showing you exactly what I did in my own unit studies. Let's get started. So, for the first 5 minutes of planning your unit study, this is how it's going to look like. Number one, decide on how you're going to use your unit study. Is it going to be a single standalone unit study, or is it going to be a full year or semester long unit study where you're giving credits and stuff like that? Now, if it's the latter, may the force be with you. This video is not about that, but good luck, and I will try to refer you to some sources where you can get that done. This video series is about single standalone unit studies. So right there, that's 1 second it took you to start planning. We're going to do single standalone unit studies, okay? Easy. All right. 2, decide on how many times a week or month are you going to do this. So say you're going to study ancient Egypt. Are you going to study this 5 times a week, 3 times a week? Or the human body or the oceans? Are you going to do this so many times a month? Maybe 4 times a month, like once a week for the month. It depends. However long your unit study is, back engineer and decide how often you're going to do it, either by week or by month. Also, are you going on a trip? That will determine how long your unit study is. When we did our unit study on Jamaica, I planned out our unit study about 6 weeks before we were going to Jamaica. One, I didn't want them to be like burnt out and then they're in Jamaica and they're like, oh, we learned everything, Mom. So I planned out 6 weeks because, you know, planning for the trip itself was going to take up my time as well. So we learned about the people, the music, the food, the land, all of that. And we sampled food, we listened to music. It was a great time. So we did it for, really about 4 weeks. Yeah. So really about 4 weeks leading up to our trip. And then like the last week and a half, I could just woo-saw and just focus on getting us ready for the trip. So you want to decide how many times per week or how many times per month. And if there is a deadline, maybe you're planning a trip to Yosemite or to New York or out of the country or some place of interest. If you have a deadline, that will determine how long your unit study is. Decide on a subject, okay? Now this is the fun part. Go talk to your kids. What books are they reading? What movies are they into? What are they obsessed with? Write all that down. See if you see some recurring themes, okay? You can go online to forums where you just type in unit studies, examples, and Pinterest. Watch out for Pinterest. You'll be on there for 5 years. Think of things that are interesting to you that you would want to learn and bounce it off of them. They might like that as well. Then you guys both get to learn, okay? So start looking for subjects, okay? If you're really at a loss, I know libraries are closed in most states. Maybe if you're at a loss for subjects, go onto Amazon, just type in DK books. DK is amazing. It will give you so many ideals, actually probably too many ideals, from whales to ocean life to Amazon to animals to countries, you name it, DK has it. So decide if you're going to use one of those books as a spine, or if the curriculum that you currently use, like I know Moving Beyond the Page kind of has like unit studies kind of embedded in it. Decide if you're going to use a book, or if you already kind of have a book that's part of your curriculum, okay? But in this case, you're probably going to be looking for books that you like, and I definitely recommend a DK book to get you going if you don't have a kind of comprehensive book that is general, and then that way you can look at each general topic within that book and decide, okay, there. Now, once you decide on a subject, do you have a spine for that? Now, a spine is just a fancy word for your main textbook, okay? But okay, for ancient Egypt, we can 1 week cover mummies, the next week the gods and goddesses, the third week life and times of the people of Egypt, and then you know, the final week could be, you know, an activity that like a final activity or something like that. But in the book, the DK books, they help to give you so much information so you can plan something for each lesson or for each week of your unit study. Okay, also, what is the purpose of your unit study? Is it just because maybe it's been a rough homeschool year and your kids are tired? Maybe they're just tired of textbooks or workbooks and you just want to get a shot of energy and fun into your homeschool? That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. That's one reason why I've used unit studies. Maybe your child who was in middle school or high school, maybe they're in a science class and they're kind of struggling. They just can't really get it. Maybe a unit study on like the human body, maybe like during a biology class and it's just not clicking. Maybe a unit study on biology to help them in class, just to learn the systems, to help them really master the material in their class at school or what have you. So what is the purpose? Is it to really learn something, to reinforce learning, just to have some interest, to have some fun, to change things up in your house? Is it because you're going on a trip somewhere? You know, maybe you just want to see how creative you and your children can be, because creativity that's one reason why we homeschool, so we can kind of do what we want. So that's a perfect avenue for that. What is the purpose of the unit study? Next, micro versus macro. What do I mean by that? Macro is big, micro is smaller. You want to study, you have a lot of subjects, you don't know how to break it down. War, you know you want to do war, okay? Your child loves war movies, whatever. So you have to decide, do you want a macro approach to this unit study, meaning say World War II or ancient Egypt? Or do you want to take a micro, a smaller approach? Macro, World War II. Micro, D-Day, Normandy, okay? Macro, ancient Egypt. Micro, gods and goddesses, pyramids, Egyptian life, okay? So the micro is just a tighter snapshot of what you're going to study. So decide how broad you want to go or how detailed you want to go with your unit study. So those are some things to keep in mind. Two things I don't really care that much about, but I know some people do. What are your goals and objectives, okay? So, you know, your goals, you know, could be, hey, you're going on a trip, so you just want to just have some additional insight before you go on a trip. Is it to prepare for a test or something that's coming up? Or your goal could be maybe writing, and throughout your unit studies, you have your child, you know, doing some little bits of writing throughout the unit study, because your goal is to really help them with their writing. Maybe they're a reluctant writer, okay? But don't worry about it. So now that you've decided macro, micro, you decided on the subject, you decided on how many times a week. Now remember, this can change as you go along, okay? Once you decided on all of that, you're gonna write a single sentence about what this unit study is about. This helps you, mom or dad, stay on track and stay focused, because when you do a unit study, there are lots of rabbit holes and tangents you can go off on. So just remembering your mission for this unit study will keep you in check. So for example, my subject that I want the kids to study is the human body. Okay, the goal would be to understand how the 6 systems of the human body functions. Okay, your sentence that you write out would read, this unit study is being created for my kids to introduce them to the 6 systems in the human body that helps them function in their everyday lives. Okay, so there you go. You know, you're talking about the human body. You got a little specific about what, you know, what about the human body and what's the purpose, just so your children have an understanding of how the body systems work in their everyday lives, you know. So that's it. Just write out a simple sentence and you're done. This is the fun part. Books, books, books. Search for books, okay? For all my book sniffers out there, this is, you're gonna be in heaven, okay? Search for books. Now you can go to your library, online or in person, Amazon, bookstores, call up your friends. Anywhere where there are books, go there and find those books that you need. I recommend getting 3 to 5 books. Just trying to, you might not be able to get all of your books. So, because once you get them, you might realize some of the books don't really cover as much as you want, or is too detailed. So, you know, you get 5 books, you might find that 2 are useful and 1 is your spy. So that's why, you know, rule of thumb, 3 to 5 books. Just so you don't overwhelm yourself, but also so you don't shortchange yourself and, you know, you're like, oh my God, none of these books kind of work out for me, okay? So search for books. Once you have your subject, just type in ancient Egypt books for kids, or ocean life for kids, or, you know, plants and trees, whatever, but put kids in the title, okay? Also, when you're putting in titles for the books, be mindful of what's possibly a good spine book and what's just a book to add to the mix for your unit study. A spine book, as I said before, DK books are great for spines. When you do the DK search, if you're in Amazon, look down at the suggested or the related books, and that way you can find other publishers that have books that are similar, like DK, okay? Next, make a list of your books, okay? Write them down. You know, you can start with 10 books. I said 5, but I know how you guys are. Maybe 10. And then you don't want to buy all of them. That's why I say 3 to 5 books. But if you have books at home, maybe pull a couple from there and then maybe go out and buy 1 or 2 if you're so inclined, okay? You don't want to make this too overwhelming. So you get your books, make your list of books, boom, 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 boom. And don't forget to include encyclopedias, biographies, you know, obviously your DK books I'm a fan of. And there's another publisher, oh, you know, I'll leave the link down below. There's another publisher that puts out lots of different subjects, and the books are very general, but they give you like the whole macro picture, and then you can just take a little part, and then you can go micro with it and run off and have fun with it. But make that list of your books, okay? And get those books quickly if you can. Next, search for videos. I cannot stress this enough. This is one of my favorite parts as well. You want to mix up your unit study. You want books, you want videos, you want hands-on activities. With videos, I recommend YouTube because it's free. Make you a playlist and name the playlist Ancient Egypt, and then start putting those videos in your playlist. You can also go on to Amazon, to Netflix, to iTunes. Now those are for pay, but you know, I know in Netflix you can make a playlist, and Amazon, I think you can make a playlist in Amazon. I'm not sure. Make a note with your list of books, the videos, and where you bought the video, okay? You don't want to get confused and you buy it on Amazon. You're all on Netflix trying to find the video. So write down where you're buying it from, and that way you're covered, okay? Next, choose activities to bring it all together. Now this is pretty fun. This is the hands-on part. This is the part my kids love the most. Activities can be a field trip, creating something, building something. It could be a dance. It could be anything, so long as they're not sitting down writing something. You want them engaged, hands-on, doing something, okay? I recommend 2 to 3 activities for your unit study, no matter how long your unit study is. Why I say that? In my experience, I found that having 2 small activities and then 1 final larger activity is perfect. Out of those 2 small activities, 1 could be a field trip, and then the other one could be something hands-on, arts and craft, or something they build, something tactile, something where they get into it, okay? And then the final activity is really like our celebration for completing the activity. I have food, I have music, we talk about what we've learned. You know, they want to get up and orate and, you know, all this kind of stuff. They can do that. But if they want to act out what they've done, you know, put on a little play, anything, make it fun. But you want to have a final, like a capstone to the unit study to kind of give it closure, and then you can kind of watch how your kids did, what they're learning. This is like a little post-assessment, a little summative assessment. You can just kind of see how much they retained and what was interesting to them, what wasn't. You know, there are some things you might have discovered about your child or things your child discovered about themselves, and so it's a time of discovery as well. So I recommend 2 to 3 activities. Finally, how are you going to evaluate the unit study? Now for me, my unit study was really just to have another avenue for creativity for my kids, and to keep, I got boys, and I needed something hands-on. And I wanted to extend their learning without always having to use a book and some worksheets. So for me, how I evaluated it was, how interested and engaged were they? What were they really excited about? Did they read about something and want to learn more about that? For me, the curiosity was the goal. It's almost always my goal. If they are inspired to learn more, or they want to do something else, then that's a win for me. But for you, you know, it might be a test. You might want to have like a little essay, you know, just write something that they thought about, you know, the topic or the subject that you're studying. So decide how you want to evaluate it. You know, it could be something as, hey, are my kids happy right now? You know, that could be your evaluation. Are they happy that they learned something and they got to bond and they got to do something different? So think of how you want to evaluate that, and that's it. So that's been that should have been like 20 minutes, give or take. In my part 2 series, I will be showing you how I put together my unit study. I'm not sure which one I'm going to show you, but I'm going to show you how I put together one of my unit studies, and I want you to see how you can do that in 20 minutes. I mean, I'm going to go step by step so you can see how I put together a unit study. So I hope this has been of value to you. If you have any questions, definitely leave them down below. Y'all know I read them, and I almost always make a video about, you know, some of the comments that I see recurring. And don't forget, if you want to get your free daily homeschool checklist, it is down below in the description box, totally free, but it will help you plan your day so you can do your unit study, okay? So it all comes together. If you want to see more of this great content, please subscribe and share this video to a mom or dad who you think could use this information.